Humanity stands alone. The Galactic Council chamber was a vast, towering structure orbiting the capital world of Primaxis Prime, the heart of the Galactic Federation. Its polished obsidian floors reflected the glow of thousands of floating holographic displays, each representing a world under the Council's dominion. Representatives from hundreds of species sat in elevated seats arranged in a massive circular assembly, their eyes, tendrils, mandibles, and sensory organs fixed on the center of the chamber, where a solitary human stood. Ambassador Jonathan Hale adjusted his suit, his expression calm and composed despite the predatory gazes of the gathered alien leaders. He had spoken at this very podium twice before, and both times, his message had been ignored. Today would be different. At the far end of the chamber, atop an elevated throne of gleaming silver, sat Supreme Chancellor Scifi, an ancient being with glowing cyan eyes and a body composed of metallic exoskeletal plates. His voice, cold and commanding, echoed through the vast hall. Ambassador Hale, the Galactic Council has convened once more to discuss the matter of your species integration. This will be your final opportunity to accept the Federation's offer. Hale let out a slow breath, clasping his hands behind his back. With all due respect, Supreme Chancellor, let me correct that statement. The Federation's offer is not one of peaceful integration. It is a demand for submission. A wave of murmurs and clicking sounds spread through the chamber. Several alien delegates hissed in amusement. Others remained silent, waiting for the humans' defiance to be crushed. Scifi's eyelights flickered, his voice edged with cold calculation. Your people lack the technology, the numbers, and the influence to survive alone in the void. The Council extends its guidance, protection, and trade. Why resist prosperity? Hale's jaw tightened. He had prepared for this moment. He tapped a small holopad on his wrist, and immediately, a series of glowing projections appeared around him. Detailed economic data, military records, and classified intelligence reports. Protection, Hale said, his voice steady. I've reviewed what happens to civilizations that join the Federation. Your so-called guidance is nothing more than economic servitude. You impose impossible tax rates, force newly integrated species into labor agreements that drain their planets of resources, and place military garrisons in the name of defense. Garrisons that never leave. Scifi's exoskeletal plates shifted, his gaze darkening. Hale continued, his tone unyielding. Let's not pretend, Chancellor. Humanity has studied your methods. The moment we join the Federation, our sovereignty is gone. Our government would become a puppet state. Our military would be dismantled. Our people would be reassigned to workforces on distant worlds, all for the supposed greater good. A deep growl rumbled from the section where the Rulok Dominion's warlords sat. The Rulok, a species of towering reptilian warriors, had been one of the first civilizations to be forcibly integrated centuries ago. Their leader, Overlord Krasten, leaned forward, his slitted yellow eyes narrowing. You speak as if you have a choice, human. The Federation has existed for millennia. The moment we set our sights on a world, it is only a matter of time before it falls in line. What makes you think Earth will be any different? Hale did not flinch. Because Earth is not like the others, he said, and we will not kneel. A miscalculation that will shake the stars. Scifi tilted his head. You refuse. We refuse, Hale confirmed, his voice steady. Humanity will not surrender its freedom. Not now. Not ever. Silence. Then laughter. It started as a soft chittering from the insectoid K-Fairy representatives, then spread into gravelly hisses from the reptilian factions. Soon, the entire council chamber rumbled with condescending amusement. A pale-skinned, amphibious delegate from the Xilari Consortium let out a chuckle. And what exactly do you think will happen now? You truly believe the Federation will allow an independent human world to exist on its borders? Hale remained silent. Another voice, this one from a massive, armored being representing the Turak war clans, let out a deep mechanical laugh. Your people are trapped on a single planet, with no interstellar fleet, no hypergate network, and no allies. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and alone. You will submit, or you will burn. Hale's expression remained unreadable. He reached into his suit pocket, pulling out a small silver device the size of a coin. With a simple press, the main display screen in the chamber changed. The moment the new data appeared, the laughter stopped. Council members stared, some in shock, some in disbelief, some in growing horror. The screen displayed dozens of Earth's outer colonies, secret settlements established on moons, asteroids, and hidden locations across multiple star systems. Vast military shipyards were shown constructing vessels far more advanced than any public record indicated. Stealth fleets, warships that had never been detected by Federation sensors, were already positioned throughout strategic points in the galaxy. Hale watched their expressions shift from mockery to uncertainty. You believed we were isolated, weak, alone, he said, his voice stronger now. You were wrong. Scifi's hands curled into fists. Impossible. Hale allowed himself a small, knowing smile. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for over a century. We knew that the day would come when the Galactic Federation would demand our surrender. And unlike the others, he leaned forward, his next words spoken with absolute certainty. We were ready. The beginning of war. The chamber descended into chaos. Council members shouted over one another. Some demanded immediate military action. Others, realizing the true threat humanity now posed, argued for restraint. Overlord Krastan's reptilian claws tore through the metal railing in front of him as he bellowed, "Deploy the fleets. Show them their defiance is futile." Scifi stood, his glowing cyan eyes burning with fury. If Earth will not submit peacefully, then the Federation will take it by force. Hale merely adjusted his suit cuffs, his gaze unwavering. If you choose war, Chancellor, then war is what you'll get. He turned and walked out of the chamber, leaving behind hundreds of alien leaders realizing, too late, that they had just made the greatest miscalculation in galactic history. Humanity's secret unveiling. The Galactic Council chamber erupted into chaos the moment Ambassador Hale left. Supreme Chancellor Scifi stood frozen, his glowing cyan eyes flickering erratically, an unmistakable sign of his species experiencing stress. The Council had ruled the galaxy for millennia. No species had ever openly refused integration and lived to tell about it. Every civilization before had either submitted or been destroyed. Yet, the humans. They had not only refused, but they had also prepared. The Council's panic. Overlord Krastan, leader of the Rulok Dominion, a species of towering reptilian warlords, was the first to react. His massive clawed hand slammed against the table, denting the reinforced metal. His voice was a deep, guttural roar of fury. Deploy the fleets immediately. We must crush them before they consolidate power. The demand was met with a mixture of agreement and hesitation. The Turak war clans, known for their conquest-driven culture, nodded in approval. The Exilari Consortium, masters of espionage, whispered among themselves in uncertain murmurs. Even the Varoth hive, a species of biomechanical insectoids, chittered nervously in their native frequency. But Supreme Chancellor Scifi raised a hand, demanding silence. His voice was dangerously calm when he finally spoke. You all saw what I saw. He turned his gaze toward the massive holographic projection still floating in the chamber. Humanity is not what we believed. Asterisk. A hush fell over the council. Admiral Turvok, a four-armed, amphibious strategist from the Yathari Union, finally spoke up. His golden eyes gleamed as he analyzed the data Ambassador Hale had revealed. Their expansion is beyond anything we anticipated. They have colonies outside of Sol. Their shipbuilding capabilities far exceed our estimates. And, he paused, tapping into the sensor data from the hidden human fleets. They are using technology we do not understand. A ripple of unease spread through the chamber. The Federation prided itself on being the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. The idea that a species so young had developed stealth warships, planetary defenses, and classified energy readings beyond their comprehension was deeply unsettling. Thyphon Zur's voice hardened. How did we not detect this? A representative from the Council Intelligence Division hesitated before speaking. We believed they were primitive. We dismissed early warning signs. We assumed they could never match our technological superiority. A dangerous silence fell over the chamber. The Council's arrogance had blinded them. And now, they had a tactical unknown staring them in the face. Earth responds. While the Council deliberated, humanity was already mobilizing. Inside the International Space Defense Headquarters, hidden deep beneath the Himalayan mountains, Captain Daniel Carter stood at the command center, watching the incoming data feeds. His voice was steady, calculated. How long until the Council moves? A nearby intelligence officer responded. We intercepted fragmented transmissions. Many factions are demanding immediate war. Others are hesitant. The Council is in disarray. Carter's lips curled into a grim smile. Good. Let them argue. The longer they hesitate, the stronger we become. The holotable in front of him displayed Earth's hidden fleets. Unlike the clunky, outdated ships humanity had publicly showcased, these vessels were sleek, heavily armored, and equipped with energy weapons far beyond what the Federation believed possible. Humanity had never been idle. For over a century, while the Federation had been watching, humans had been studying them just as carefully. They had decrypted alien signals, intercepted classified military transmissions, and reverse-engineered lost technology. They knew the Federation would one day come for them. So they had done what humans do best. They adapted. And now, the Council's worst nightmare was becoming reality. The Galactic Fleet moves. Despite the Council's internal debate, one thing was clear. Humanity had to be stopped. It was only a matter of time before the Council finally gave the order. And when they did, Earth would be ready. The first move of war. On the edge of Sol's outer perimeter, where the Federation believed only empty space lay, something shifted. A fleet of black, nearly invisible warships emerged from behind the cover of a small uninhabited moon. These were Project Revenant, humanity's first fully operational stealth battleships. And they were heading straight toward the Federation's nearest military outpost. The war had already begun, and the Council didn't even know it yet. The first strike. The Galactic Federation had ruled for millennia, its dominance unquestioned. But for the first time in its long history, it was facing an unknown threat. That threat was humanity. And while the Council argued, debated, and doubted, humanity was already moving. The silent fleet awakens, beyond the outskirts of the Sol system, where only dust and frozen rock were believed to exist. The darkest secret of Earth's defense network remained hidden. Project Revenant. A fleet of stealth warships, each one coated in adaptive energy-dampening materials, drifted silently in the void. No light reflected from their hulls. No emissions escaped their engines. They were ghosts in space, designed for one purpose: to strike before the enemy even knew they were there. Aboard the lead vessel, the UNS Revenant, Captain Adrian Hayes stood at the command bridge, watching the silent void ahead. Before him, a holographic projection of their target rotated slowly. Outpost Omega 37, a remote Federation military installation tasked with monitoring the Sol system's outer perimeter. It was one of many sensor stations, positioned to ensure no species could develop beyond the Federation's control without being detected. But there was one problem. The Federation had assumed humanity was primitive. They had never expected Earth to have warships capable of bypassing their detection grid. Now, those warships were less than an hour away from striking a Federation installation. Captain Hayes turned to his weapons officer, Lieutenant Mira Voss. Status. Voss's ice-blue eyes gleamed as she scanned her readings. Weapons locked. Railguns charged, stealth fields holding. They have no idea we're here. Hayes exhaled. He had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. Then let's teach them the first rule of war. He leaned forward. Hit first. Hit hard. The ambush. On Outpost Omega 37, Commander Relquar, a four-armed Varoth officer, paced inside the sensor command center. He had served the Federation for over 200 cycles, and in all that time, no species had ever challenged its power. Today would be no different. His mandibles clicked in mild boredom as he observed the passive scans of the Sol system, expecting nothing unusual. Humanity is delusional, he muttered. They truly believe they can stand alone. The station's communication officer, a smaller auxiliary technician, flicked his amphibian-like eyes toward him. Perhaps they believe in miracles. Relquar snorted. There are no miracles in war, only inevitability. He was about to turn away when something flashed on the console. His mandibles snapped shut. An energy signature. Small. Unusual. Then it vanished. He froze. Recalibrate the scanners. Confirm that reading. The auxiliary officer hesitated. Sir, it could be a... Confirm it. The technician nodded, adjusting the sensor frequencies, pushing the range to maximum sensitivity. And that was when the station's alarm screamed. Multiple objects had just appeared on the outer perimeter. Fast. Invisible. Closing in. Relquar's blood ran cold. By the void. What is that? The first kill. Aboard the UNS Revenant, Captain Hayes watched the enemy installation grow larger. Then, the alert flashed across his display. The station's scanners had recalibrated. They had been spotted. Enemy is reacting, sir. Lieutenant Voss called. They've locked onto us. Hayes didn't hesitate. Fire. The UNS Revenant's railguns ignited in a flash of electromagnetic fury. A fraction of a second later, a metallic slug, traveling at near relativistic speeds, ripped through the void, bypassing the station's shields before they could fully activate. The impact tore through the sensor array, shredding metal, circuits, and personnel in an instant. The station lurched violently, its entire upper deck collapsing inward. Inside the station, Relquar was hurled backward, crashing against the control console as the lights flickered and sparks rained from the ceiling. His breath came in short, panicked gasps as he stared at the damage report. Massive hull breach. Core systems failing. Defensive weapons offline. His mandibles trembled. This was impossible. Sir, his officer screamed. We've lost primary scanners. We're blind. Relquar scrambled to his feet, slamming his hand against the emergency communicator. Broadcast a distress call to the Council. We are under attack. But as the technician pressed the emergency beacon signal, his face twisted in horror. The comms were dead. Cut off. By the time Relquar realized what that meant, it was already too late. The aftermath. Less than 5 minutes later, Outpost Omega 37 was gone. Its ruins drifted in space, silent and lifeless. The stealth fleet vanished into the void, leaving no trace of their presence. It was humanity's first strike, and the Federation never saw it coming. The Council reacts. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. A transmission from another Federation station had picked up the wreckage of Outpost Omega 37. What should have been an unbreakable monitoring station was now nothing more than a field of drifting debris, and there was no record of what had attacked it. Supreme Chancellor Scifi's glowing cyan eyes flickered erratically as he grasped the railing of his throne. Overlord Krast hands clawed fists slammed onto the table, his voice a roar of frustration. Who dares? Admiral Turvok's amphibious skin paled as he analyzed the data. Then his voice came out in a whisper. The humans. Scifi turned sharply. Impossible. They lack the capability to launch such an assault undetected. But Turvok simply stared at the tactical readout. No, Chancellor, they don't. He turned, his golden eyes dark with realization. We've underestimated them again. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. For the first time, the council understood the gravity of their mistake. They thought humanity was a defenseless species clinging to its homeworld. But instead, they had just awakened the sleeping giant. And now, that giant had drawn first blood.